In a faraway land, there was a kingdom called Osondi. It was filled with tall trees, golden fields, and bright blue skies. King Akim ruled the land with wisdom. He had a son, Prince Ayodele, who was loved by everyone in the kingdom. Prince Ayodele had a special gift. He could talk to trees, listen to the wind, and even understand the whispers of animals. People called him the Earth's Child. But even with this amazing gift, Ayodele felt lonely. Ayodele often wandered alone in the royal gardens trying to talk to the trees. He wanted to feel close to someone, but his father, King Akim, was always busy. The prince's heart felt empty. One day, while Ayodele was in the garden, he saw an old woman sitting under a tree. She had bright eyes and a deep voice. She looked at Ayodele and smiled. "You are the prince who will save us," she said. The old woman told Ayodele that the trees had warned her of an evil coming to the kingdom. A dark sorceress named Ayodele wanted to destroy the land and its people. Ayodele was the only one who could stop her. The woman explained that to fight Ayodele would have to change. He would have to become a tree himself. This sounded impossible, but the prince agreed, thinking it was his only chance to save the kingdom. The old woman began chanting in an ancient language. Ayodele felt a strange warmth spread through his body. His arms grew stiff, and his legs turned into roots. His skin turned rough like bark. As the magic worked, Ayodele's body slowly turned into a tall, mighty tree. He felt the wind through his branches and the earth beneath his roots. He was both frightened and amazed. Now that he was a tree, Ayodele could feel the heartbeat of the earth. He could hear the whispers of the trees around him. The earth spoke to him, telling him of the coming evil. Far away in the jungle, the dark sorceress Ayodele was preparing her magic. She wanted to steal the power of nature for herself. With her dark spells, she could make everything in the kingdom wither and die. One night, a dark cloud appeared over Osondi. The trees began to shake. The birds flew away in fear. Ayode's magic had begun. Ayodele, still a tree, knew he had to stop it. Ayodele called out to the trees. "Help me," he whispered. The trees bent their branches toward him, ready to listen. They formed a circle around the prince's new form, preparing for the battle ahead. With every passing minute, Ayodele felt stronger. The trees began to speak to him, guiding him on how to stop Ayode's magic. They told him that only a great sacrifice could break the evil spell. Ayode's magic grew stronger. The fields began to turn brown, and the flowers wilted. The animals started to run away. The evil was spreading like a terrible disease. The earth began to tremble beneath Ayodele's roots. The trees whispered that they had a plan. But Ayodele had to hurry. He could feel Ayode's dark power coming closer. Ayodele had to make a choice. The trees told him that if he wanted to stop Ayodele, he would have to give up his human life forever. He would be a tree, not a prince, for the rest of his days. Ayodele closed his eyes and thought of his family, his kingdom, and his people. He knew the right thing to do. With courage in his heart, he decided to sacrifice his life as a human to save his people. Ayode's magic sent storm clouds across the land. The winds howled, and the trees were pulled from their roots. Ayodele, now a giant tree, called upon the earth to fight back. From the shadows, Ayodele summoned dark creatures, shadow wolves and venomous snakes. They slithered and growled, attacking the trees. Ayodele called upon his new strength to defend his kingdom. The wind, Ayodele's old friend, blew fiercely. It carried the scent of hope and sent the shadow creatures scattering. The trees stood strong, and the battle between light and dark raged on. Ayodele felt the balance between nature and evil tipping. Ayode's magic was strong, but the prince's connection to the earth was even stronger. He had to focus all his energy to stop her. Ayodele grew angry. She knew that Ayodele was the only one who could defeat her. Her eyes blazed with fury, and she summoned a storm of black magic that covered the land in darkness. The trees whispered to Ayodele, telling him to call upon the spirits of the ancestors. With their help, he could stop Ayode's darkness. Ayodele felt the ancient magic course through his roots. Ayodele's branches glowed with the light of the ancestors. The ground beneath him shook as he called upon all the power of nature to fight Ayodele's dark magic. The trees around him swayed and sang. Ayodele's dark storm clashed against Ayodele's light. The two forces battled fiercely, lightning flashing, winds howling. Ayodele's tree form trembled, but he held firm, knowing the kingdom depended on him. Ayodele sensed something deep within Ayodele's heart, a weakness. He reached out with his magic, trying to uncover the truth behind her evil. What he found was surprising. Ayodele's evil didn't come from a desire for power alone. Ayodele felt her pain. She had once loved the land, but jealousy and anger had twisted her heart. She needed healing, not destruction. Ayodele reached out, not with anger, but with love. He spoke to Ayodele through the wind. "The land can heal you," he whispered. "Come back to the earth. Let go of your darkness." Ayodele paused, her heart torn between power and regret. The storm slowed. The dark creatures stopped moving. Ayodele's words had reached her. Would she give up her evil magic? Ayodele looked at the land she had destroyed. She saw the pain in the eyes of the trees, the rivers, and the animals. Slowly, she lowered her hands, her magic fading. Ayodele's tree began to shine brighter. With Ayodele's dark magic gone, the sun broke through the clouds. The fields turned green again, and the trees began to grow. Ayodele's power returned, stronger than before. Ayodele had won. He had stopped Ayodele and saved his kingdom. But he was still a tree, his human life gone forever. The people of Osondi rejoiced, but they mourned the loss of their prince. The people of Osondi honored Ayodele. They built a shrine around his tree, singing songs and telling stories about the prince who had given everything for them. Years passed, and the land flourished. The kingdom was at peace, and the trees stood tall. Ayodele's spirit lived on, watching over the kingdom, guiding the people with the wisdom of the earth. As time went on, Ayodele's wisdom became known to all. People would come to his tree seeking advice. They felt his presence in the rustling leaves, in the whisper of the wind. One day, a child came to Ayodele's tree, feeling lost. The tree's branches swayed, and a soft voice filled the air. "You are never alone," the tree whispered. The child felt comforted and strong. Ayodele's story was passed down through generations. Children grew up hearing about the brave prince who had become a tree. His sacrifice and love for his people became a symbol of hope. Under the protection of Ayodele's tree, the kingdom of Osondi thrived. The land was always green, the crops were bountiful, and the people lived in harmony with nature. Ayodele's tree had a song, a melody that could be heard in the rustling of the leaves. It was a song of peace, love, and sacrifice. Anyone who heard it felt the warmth of the earth in their heart. Ayodele had kept his promise to save his kingdom. He had become one with the earth and watched over it. His people remembered his courage and their bond with nature. As the years went by, the children of Osondi grew up with stories of Ayodele. They understood the importance of caring for the earth, knowing it was their responsibility to keep the balance. The people knew that the cycle of life must continue. The earth was a living thing, and they had to protect it. Ayodele's legacy taught them to love and respect nature. Under the shade of Ayodele's tree, the people lived peacefully. They celebrated their connection to the earth, and the kingdom of Osondi became a place where nature and humans lived together in harmony. Ayodele's tree became a symbol of healing. It was said that if you touched the tree's bark with a pure heart, you would feel its strength and peace. People came from far and wide to seek comfort. Ayodele had taught his people an important lesson. The earth must be cared for it is both our home and our teacher. People learned to live in balance with nature, understanding that both the earth and its creatures had value. The people of Osondi continued to honor Ayodele. They knew that his spirit was still with them, guiding them through every challenge. The roots of the tree became a symbol of their shared strength. As the seasons changed, Ayodele's tree grew older and stronger. Its branches stretched far and wide, sheltering the kingdom beneath it. It became a living testament to the prince who had given everything. Osondi was peaceful once again. The winds whispered stories of Ayodele, and his name was spoken with love and respect. The people never forgot the prince who had become a tree. And so, Ayodele's story was passed on through the generations. His bravery, wisdom, and love for the earth inspired all who came after him. The kingdom of Osondi prospered, its people living in harmony with nature. Ayodele's spirit remained in the tree, blessing the kingdom for generations to come. The people of Osondi never forgot their prince, who became a tree to protect them all. His love for the earth endures forever.